Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and we're going to be working on the BMW 1 Series today, and we are going to be replacing the track rod assemblies. Now I'll just show you exactly what they look like. So this is the entire track rod assembly itself. So you have the track rod or inner tie rod, whatever you want to call it. Then you have the track rod end or tie rod end, whatever you want to call it, but this is the track rod assembly. So this end attaches to the wheel hub, and then this end attaches to the steering rack. Now we're going to be replacing both sides. Obviously on the BMW 1 Series, I believe you should always replace suspension and steering components in pairs, because you don't want any imbalances when you are driving out on the road. Now, why are we replacing them today? Do I have an issue with them? And the answer is really no, I don't have an issue. I haven't noticed an issue. The car has been checked by BMW, it's been checked by a couple of independent garages in the past few years or so, and there is no problems with the steering or the suspension in any way, shape or form that anyone can see. Now, the reason that I'm actually going to be replacing them is because I haven't taken the car for a wheel alignment yet, and I like to take all of my BMWs for a 4-wheel wheel alignment, and that is because there's quite a lot of adjustments that can be made. So you can adjust the front toe, the rear toe and the rear camber also. And yeah, I like my wheel alignment to be dead perfect as it should be, because if it's not, then there's a good chance that you're going to be eating through some tires. And obviously, you know, your steering is not going to be as good as it should be, you know, when the car comes new from factory. And I like my car to be as close to that. And if you go for the car's first ever wheel alignment, and it's a good 10 to 15 years old, and it still has the original track rod and track rod ends on, there's a good chance that they may be seized into position, and whoever is doing your wheel alignment at the alignment shop, there's a good chance that they're gonna struggle to adjust it. So yeah, I like to just put all new track rod assemblies on before I go for a wheel alignment, just to kind of make their life a bit easier when they do the wheel alignment. And you know, with the car being what, 15, 16 years old now, I'm going to guess that the track rod assemblies are not going to be as good as they once were. There is a ball joint obviously in the end where it sits into the hub. That is more than likely slightly worn, and then the end that goes into the steering rack itself, that's more than likely slightly worn. Obviously within tolerances, but you know, it's going to be somewhat worn anyway. So, but yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. That is why we're going to be doing it. So I guess without further ado, we'll get outside and let's get cracking. Okay then, so as you can see, the BMW 1 Series is actually up in the air. I have supported either side, either jacking point with a jack stand, and you're going to need the front wheels off of the ground because the wheels need to be removed. And once you have it up in the air, you're going to want to remove the front under tray, and that is just held in place by a bunch of these 8mm screws here. So let's get on to removing all of those. Okay, so there is that front under tray removed, and we still have a coolant leak, which means a new water pump is needed. And now we can start removing the wheels. The next thing you're going to want to do then is turn either side, whichever side you want to start on, turn the wheel all the way outwards so that you have access to the track rod end nut. This is the nut that you need to remove here. Now there is a good chance that this that the ball joint will actually be seized into the hub itself. It happens, you know, very frequently. Sometimes you have to use heat, sometimes you have to end up smacking this thing to death. But yeah, let's hope we get lucky today. So we need to remove this nut, and before we do that I'm going to spray it with some lubricant just to give us any chance of getting this thing off. Just let that soak in for a couple of minutes. And now that we've let the nut soak in that lubricant for a good couple of minutes, I'm going to try and crack it loose. Now, I did plan on using the impact wrench, but I just can't seem to get the correct angle. Obviously you want to make sure that you are on it square, and yeah, I really don't want to round this off because then it means cutting it off and all sorts. So I'm going to try and crack it loose with the breaker bar first. Did that just come loose? I'm sure. I think it did. I think it was moving. Yeah, we've cracked it loose. Let's see if we can remove it with the small impact wrench. It's either going to come straight off or it's just going to spin the ball joint itself. I'm going to guess the latter. You know what? I might be wrong. That's coming off. That's definitely coming off. Done it. There's the nut removed. With any luck, this won't be seized in here. I don't think it is, because it did seem to move quite freely. Ah, look at that. I just wish it was always that easy. Yep, this ball joint still got quite a bit of life left in it. Obviously not as good as new, but still pretty stiff, to be honest. Oh, that's the retaining washer, I guess you could call it. It kind of has 3 tabs. As you can see, there's only 1 tab left on it now. It just kind of locks in the nut on the ball joint. But yeah, this is just scrap now. It's not even needed. The new track rod should come with a nylon locking nut, so yeah, we don't really need this. The next thing you're going to want to do then is remove the rubber boot that protects the track rod itself. So this end is just a case of getting some pliers on there, squeezing it together, and this clip should come off. And then this side looks like one of those one-time use only securing clips, so you just need to get a screwdriver in there, prise that out, and then that should essentially break. You can't reuse these, they're just a one-time only use thing. Okay, so just actually got some vice grips on this one just so I don't have to keep it clamped shut, and as you can see, this clamp is now off. That's that one removed then. And then, like I said, with this one you want to get a screwdriver or something like a pick. I'm going to try and use a pick and just get it in that slot, and like I said, don't worry about breaking this, it's only a one-time use clip. Now obviously if you want to reuse this boot, we're not going to be today, we have a brand new boot and, you know, securing clips and all the rest of it, but if you want to reuse it, obviously try not to damage it. There we are. That's that removed, and now the boot itself should pull off of the steering rack. There we are. And now to remove the track rod assembly from the steering rack. As you can see, we have some flats on there, and that is what we need to get on with a wrench. Crack that loose, and then the whole assembly should spin off the rack itself. There we go. It's cracked loose. And you can just twist the entire thing off. if you're wondering what size wrench I use for that, it is an old Imperial one, so it's 17/16, so that's just over an inch. But yeah, this seems to do the job quite well when it comes to these trap rod assemblies. Now what we want to do next is try and make our new part, the new trap rod assembly, the exact same length or as close as possible to the length of the original part, because we know that the toe alignment, the front toe, is relatively good on the car, so we want to try and match that with our new part. We don't want to drive down the road and have our front toe way out, because that is going to wear the tyres unnecessarily. So we want to try and make this as close as possible to the length of the original part. Now before we start adjusting the length of the new assembly, we need to install our new boot, and it should just slide over like so, and once that is in position we can then start adjusting this and making it the exact same length as the original part. Now I like to apply some copper grease to the new threads. This is just going to make it a lot easier when it comes to adjusting the wheel alignment. Whoever does the wheel alignment is definitely going to thank you for it. Just going to make things move a whole lot easier. And now we can try and get the new assembly as close as possible to the length of the original assembly. That is about bang on, I would say, or as close as we're going to get it. So you can see I have the ends right up against that piece of wood, and that is roughly about the same length. Obviously they're not at the exact same angle, but like I said, we're not going for absolute perfection. That's what you do when you have the wheel alignment and when they make the front toe adjustment. So yeah, I guess now what we need to do is tighten down this nut and then this nut here to secure the trap rod end to the trap rod itself. And now if we come back over to the car, we can start screwing our new assembly into place. It can be a bit difficult to start because we have all these control arms in the way. So managed to get it started. I just got to twist it all of the way on. And now I can tighten it down. How tight does this have to be? Just keep him going until it stops. That's plenty tight. And now we can get the ball joint side into the hub. There we are. And now we can install our new securing nut. Now then, to tighten down the securing nut, if you just try to use an impact wrench or a socket and ratchet on there, what's going to happen is you're going to begin to twist the ball joint, and then this boot is going to get messed up. So if you want to keep this in good condition, the best thing to do is get something to stop the ball joint from spinning. And in our case it is a T45 bit. Put that in the top, make sure it's wedged nice and secure so it can't go anywhere, and then just tighten down the nut with the regular 21mm wrench. There we go, that's tight enough. And now all we need to do is get our rubber boot into position. So if we grab this end and slide it over the steering rack itself, there we are. I've actually found some Jubilee clamps and these secure so much better. They're much less flimsy, so I'm actually going to install these instead. And there we go, that's the Jubilee clamp installed. And then when it comes to the other side, we don't have a replacement Jubilee clamp, so we are going to make use of the supplied one-time use only clamp. So first of all, you want to make sure that the rubber boot is all the way along and is sitting in the grooves. If you're not sure, just compare it to the other side and then you'll see exactly where it needs to go. But yeah, let's get this in place and clamp it down. There we are then, that is that securing clamp on, nice and tight, that's not going anywhere. And with that done, that is this side now complete. We just need to do the exact same on the other side. And there we are then, that's the other side done as well. And as you can see, I've reinstalled the front under tray, and now what's left to do is get the wheels back on. Okay then guys, so that is the track rod assemblies now replaced on the BMW 1 Series, and I have just took it for a wheel alignment. Now on the way there it was a bit dodgy. I think I had some toe out on either side, so you know we didn't get it exact. You know, like I said, you don't really have to get it bang on. You know, you can try and measure it to the millimeter, you can count the turns, whatever you want to do to try and replicate on the new assemblies, you know, comparing to the old assemblies. But you know, it really doesn't matter. That's where you go for the wheel alignment, to get it you know, exactly bang on. And yeah, I'll show you the results. So this is how we are looking. So this is us in the bottom. This is what we are looking like right now. So as you can see, we only have one in the red, and that is camber, the front camber, which is not adjustable. The only way you can adjust that is if you knock out the locating pin for the struts, which I don't really want to do. I'm going to be replacing all the entire suspension at a later date anyway. But yeah, as you can see, the front toe is bang on in the middle. The rear camber is bang on in the middle. The rear toe is bang on in the middle. The only adjustments that they can actually make is the rear toe, rear camber and front toe. But yeah, if you actually have a look, before, the rear camber on the left side was actually out quite a bit. So that has been corrected, and yeah, I'm pleased to announce that the car actually drives a lot better now. Like, it feels so much more stable and, like, I don't know, tight, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I didn't even know we had rear camber out on the back. So yeah, that's all good now. And if you are wondering where I take my cars for a wheel alignment, and if you're in the UK, this is going to be relevant for you. But if you know, if you're not in the UK, then it's not going to be relevant at all. But there is a garage called Quick Fit, and UK guys, I know you're going to be thinking, oh, what are you going to Quick Fit for? You know, they're whatever. You're going to say this and that. This isn't a sponsored video. I haven't been paid to say this or anything. I actually use Quick Fit. I pay my money to Quick Fit. They are generally very, very good for wheel alignment. You pay, I think it's £120 for a 2-year cover, and you get like 8 different visits, and on those visits you can have as many different adjustments as you need. As you saw today, you know, had to have front toe, rear toe and rear camber on either side. So yeah, it's well worth your money in my opinion. But yeah, that's what I wanted to make. I wanted to make a point. You do need to go to somewhere, when you have a wheel alignment, you need to go somewhere that has a 4-wheel alignment machine. So a Hunter Hunter wheel alignment machine, because they are generally the best places to go to. A lot of places will say they do 4-wheel wheel alignments, but they don't have the Hunter machine, so they can't really adjust like the rear toe, rear camber and all the rest of it. So you need to go somewhere that does have that. Anyway, I want to thank all of you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you have not already done so, and I will see you all in that next one. Peace!